After the hustle and bustle of Carnival, I had to take a little time to recover. Actually took 2 days just to recover from that 2 days on the road. That was really hectic. You can't play mass if you have energy and thing, and you can't do work that I do if you do other energy, because the sun was something else. But the carnival vibes was spectacular as always. So I took 2 days to recover. Then I had to take some more time to edit and develop all my pictures and all of that stuff that I had to do. So within that time, a number of things happened. So I'm going to have to go through what happened as quickly and as best as possible. I was actually going to put out my Suicide Squad video today, but seeing as these breaking news things have come out, I need to do those first. So I'll get to those, and then I will see if I can get to the other videos that I have still ready to go. But let's get into Madam Web for a moment. I knew it was going to be a disaster. You knew it was going to be a disaster. We all knew it was going to be a disaster. But the fact that literally nobody went to see it, or if anybody did go to see it, they sure as hell ain't going back. That should tell you, yeah, this is a real freaking disaster at this point. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes about it. This thing is a freaking disaster. Let's take a look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Madam Web. It sits here currently at 13% for the critics and 54% for the audience. So it's 13% rotten for the critics and 54% rotten for the audience. Now, two things as to why this 13% is so significant. 2 days ago, this was at 15%. So it has just been dropping. As I said, at the time of this video, 2 days ago, it was at 15%. When I checked it 2 days ago, it was at 15%. Now, it's at 13%. And the audience scores at 54%. Now, the second reason why this 13% is so significant is because the critics gave it at 13%. Critics gave it such bad reviews. And these are the same people on Rotten Tomatoes, the same critics who it was revealed would give positive reviews for $50. That is how much their integrity is worth. Their integrity is worth $50, so they would give movies positive reviews, movies that TV series positive reviews. But even that $50 apparently wasn't enough, or maybe they didn't get it or whatnot. And this is what become of Madam Web. An absolute disaster. There were also some of these things going around online. All seats are available for Madam Web at my local theater because, like I said, nobody was watching it. That's the information we were getting. Nobody was watching this thing. It's bad. It's really freaking bad. And let's get into how bad it actually is. This article here from Fandom Pulse. Madam Web posts 6 million box office opening day, worse than Morbius. So yeah, Morbius, a movie I could not even finish watching, made more money than Madam Web on its opening day, and may very well make more money in its entire run than Madam Web. Ay. Madam Web has officially become the worst performing Sony film at the box office, earning 2 abysmal trophies for its effort. The first was officially dethroning Morbius as the worst received Sony superhero film, standing at a 14% critic score and a 44% audience score. Well, we know that's dropped because it's at 13%. Now the audience score is going up to 54%. But I think that's just because other people have actually chimed in on the reviews for that. You always find the shills out there trying to defend it. But yeah, 13% is that, and it's dropping. And the second is bringing in the lowest opening box office at just 6 million at the box office on its first domestic day. So yeah, they put this movie out on Valentine's Day, and apparently nobody had, and apparently it did not feel the love from anybody. No one. It almost feels unfair to compare Morbius to the unmitigated disaster that is Madam Web. Well, I took a look at Morbius out of curiosity, had no intention of ever going back. I thought the movie was just horrible. And if Madam Web is even worse, well, that should tell you right there. I'm glad I did not waste money to go and watch this. Jared Leto at least seemed to have some fun playing the character of Morbius. Meanwhile, Dakota Johnson was so outraged by Madam Web that she fired her talent agency and went on to complain about the production of the film being a mess. Well, yeah, that will make people really think you love it. That'll really do it. Madam Web has a budget of $80 million, right? $80 million for Madam Web, and that doesn't include any of the marketing Sony dumped onto their latest trash fire, right? So if we just look at the production budget of $80 million, that means Madam Web would have to bring in something like about $250 to $300 million to break even, about that. And that's not even counting the marketing, but it have to bring in somewhere around that. And you may be saying, but it only has 80 million, and that's not so much compared to some of these other movies that making like 200, that have like 200 million and 300 million budget. So why it need to make 200 million, 300 million? But we have to remember, as I've said it before, these companies do not get back 100% of the ticket sales. When it is domestically in the US, in North America, they get about 50% or 45% of the theater sales. So they don't even get all of that. So if it is each theater brings in, let's say, $2,000, they will probably get like 1,000, right? And internationally, it's even lower. Internationally, I think it's like 30 or 40%, and in China, if this movie makes it to China, it would be like about 30-20%, somewhere around there, because China have their own box office. So that's the thing about it. So that's why I'm saying this movie needs to make at least 250 to 300 million to break even, based on that ratio that I just explained there. Let's go on. Morbius had a slightly smaller budget of just 75 million, and while universally panned, it did manage to bring in a worldwide box office total of 167.5 million. So Morbius still lost money. And for those who believe Madam Web may find a way to crawl out of the financial hole and turn a profit, Morbius also brought in more than double Madam Web on its opening day box office with 17.3 million. So yeah, Madam Web on its opening day made 6 million. Morbius on its opening day made 17.3 million, and Morbius still went on to lose money. Madam Web ain't looking so good at all. Madam Web is already under fire for changing Spider-Man's iconic, oh God, here we go. With great power comes great responsibility line in the film. She instead said, when you take on the responsibility, great power will come. When she was expecting somebody to clap about that, I really don't know. The cast appeared desperate at the premiere, appearing in scandalous attire in order to try to distract from the film's content with their near nude bodies on display. Yet these are the images here from the opening movie premiere. This is the first one. This is the second one, full body shot. So yeah, they're pretty much looking very revealing and near nude, as they say. Yeah, this wasn't indicative of what was in Madam Web, as there wasn't very much of Sydney Sweeney to be viewed in in a cheesecake manner to save the film. Yeah, because I mean, if Sydney Sweeney's chest wasn't enough to make people like this movie, you really ain't got nothing else going there for you. It's kind of good. There are many reasons why Madam Web was destined to fail. The signs were apparent from the day the film was announced, and while it does have some talented actresses, they could not redeem the awful decisions made by the director and writers. Now, here's the thing, right? You see this shot here where they all in these spider-looking outfits? This never, what I understand, this never actually happens in the movie. It never actually happens in the movie. They literally, because I actually listened to like 2 reviews of the movie. It was pretty much terrible. And the easiest way to break down how this movie apparently was girl learns that she has psychic abilities, opens window for some pigeon to fly in, goes and finds 3 other women who may or may not be whores, takes them to a hotel room, teaches them CPR, leaves them for a few hours, then comes back. They're all being chased by some spider weirdo guy who psychic girl hits once with a car, then again with an ambulance before finally dropping a Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I think it's a Pepsi sign onto him and crushing him. That's it. That was the whole basis of the movie. So they only got to see them like this in some kind of future vision flash or something. They never actually suited up in anything. And they're trying to tell me, it's an origin story. That's why it's like this and that. No. Well, the ones who were interested, because I know they got me crap from the beginning, wanted to go and see this movie because of what it was. But when you keep putting out these Spider-Man related movies that don't have anything to do with Spider-Man, what do you expect to happen? Now, no matter how you try to play, no matter how you try to spin it, how you try to get this to go the way you're hoping it's going to be, right? Even bounding into comics, stating that, Madam Web gets squished post worse opening day box office than Morbius and The Marvels. Yeah, so that's pretty much a disaster. Go through here, they talk about how the numbers said that the Dakota Johnson-led Bait and Switch managed to pull in only $6 million, roughly $1,508 for each of the 4,013 domestic theaters which screened it on opening night and its Valentine's Day debut. So like I said, Sony will only make about half of this, if anything, and that's about it. This is the villain here who apparently got squashed by a Pepsi sign or something, some other nonsense than that. It's not good, it's not well done, it's not put together nicely at all. So in this part here, the film focusing the film on an obscure E-lister at best comic book character, leaving it completely disconnected from the Sony or Marvel Studios' respective franchises, cannot be stressed enough. Its lack of Spider-Man himself was what was there for audience to truly latch on to and get excited for. Combine that with critic reviews and essentially boil down to why does this even exist? And even a blind woman could see that Madam Web was almost certainly doomed from the get-go. This is the Madam Web that we were all first introduced to. And there was even some talk early on in this movie about how they wanted some old blind woman to play Madam Web. Nobody could understand why, but you were doomed to fail. When you have these movies that are not connected to Spider-Man, yet you use characters that are connected to Spider-Man and then act like, this movie should have nothing to do with Spider-Man, but you still should love it because the critics hate it, the fans hate it, those who showed up at least, because most of the time you were getting some empty theaters when nobody showed up to watch it. Madam Web is a disaster. It has a 13% critic review on Rotten Tomatoes and dropping. They didn't even get this. He didn't even get the suit up. So yeah, this is pretty much done. This is what it is. I figured it was going to be like that, and it is once again another absolute freaking disaster of a movie that should have never been made. You know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.